Hello there! If you are anything like me, then you might want to throw off the shackles of being a wholesome board game review munchkin and instead become an insatiable entity of corruption, a harbinger of doom that steals souls, burns villages, and taints the very ground that it walks on.
Then you're in luck, thanks to a 2009 board game brought to us by Games Workshop and Fantasy Flight Games, Chaos in the Old World. This is an asymmetric area control game that some people say is one of the best Warhammer games ever made. Now, of course, it has been out of print for about 16 years, meaning that you do need to make a deal with the devil to get your hands on a copy. I mean, mine isn't even real. It's just a JPEG over the top of a copy of Monopoly Reading Edition. Rivermead? The Oracle? Majewski Stadium? Oh, be still my beating heart. But look, I can't really make a video about this game myself. I mean, not only do I not own it, I've also never played it. But I know someone who has, and they've already sold their soul for a copy. Isn't that right, Mr. Sorcery?
Quite right, Tom. Thomas Brewster, Tom J. Brewster, Tom Boardgame Brewster of Shut Up and Sit Down, Tom Boardgame Brewster, Tom Brewster.
Yeah, I mean, just Tom is quite all right.
Sure thing, Tom. Tom Brewster of Shut Up and Sit Down.
Yeah, you should probably start the video now.
Of course, you're correct. Chaos in the Old World is an asymmetric area control game that some people say...
Already done that bit.
Oh, well, if you, like me, want to throw off the shackles of being a wholesome board game munchkin.
Jordan, please, do not make me regret this.
No, don't worry, Tom. I've got this under control. Just like a smart player has an area under control in the game Chaos in the Old World, the game.
Oh, good grief.
I'm Jordan. If I can get my act together in time, this is Jordan Sorcery, and today I'm reviewing Chaos in the Old World. Designed by industry powerhouse Eric M. Lang and released in the deep dark past of 2009. That's fully 1,000 years ago. Chaos in the Old World lets 4 players take on the roles of the Chaos gods of the Warhammer world. They are vile, ruinous powers who want to destroy everything, and they like nothing more than playing with their food. And oh boy, are they having chicken tonight. There's the bloody warrior god Khorne, who seeks skulls for his IKEA skull throne. The rotting god of decay Nurgle, who shares plagues and poxes like that kid at the Sea Life Centre who sneezes on the glass. Enigmatic Sudoku fiend Tzeentch, whose penchant for lies and deception would make them a great MP, and Slaanesh, the god of pleasure, pain, and Sunday morning consequences. The 4 gods each have their own strengths and weaknesses in their battle to take complete control of Warhammer's old world. And in one of the game's many intriguing mechanics, they always take turns in the same order. Khorne thinks little and acts first. Then Nurgle, Tzeentch, and finally Slaanesh has the opportunity to go last. By gathering cultists and summoning demons, corrupting the lands around you, and fighting against one another to the bitter end, you'll attempt to tear down the different empires and kingdoms of the old world, and ultimately damn the humans, dwarfs, elves, and halflings who live there to the unspeakable terror of the end times. At the beating black heart of this game is a mechanical marvel. Each Chaos god has their own distinct powers and their own ways to win. Now, anybody can win by just scoring 50 victory points, which you get by dominating territories or ruining them utterly through massive amounts of corruption, as if you were running a UK water company. But there is a second way to win, and it is built directly into the game board. These dials are called the threat dials. Every single Chaos god has one, and they have a certain number of ticks required in order to complete the dial. If you do so, you can win the game almost instantly. Every single Chaos God has their own objective that lets them tick the dial on once per turn, and there's a bonus tick if you get the most of your objectives in that turn complete. Khorne loves a bit of murder, death, kill, so their objective is to kill enemy creatures in the same region in the same turn. Slaanesh wants to corrupt regions that have powerful nobles and heroes in them, seducing them to their dark side. Tzeentch must scour regions rich in warpstone and chaos magic, whilst Nurgle just likes to corrupt places that have the largest populations ripe for infection. Each time you meet an objective during the turn, you add a token to your advancement dial. At the end of the turn, if you have at least one token, you get to crank the dial forward one place. And if you have the most tokens out of everybody, well then, you're a double cranker. With each step on the dial, there are new rewards like victory points, extra cards, and other game effects like being able to place down tokens that are beneficial to you. Stuff like nobles and heroes and peasants and warpstone. These unique objectives inevitably make each god feel quite different to play. You are focused on your own specific objectives, trying to complete them as many times per turn as you can. But you also need to remain mindful of what your sneaky little fellow Chaos Gods are getting up to in their turns, lest they score more points than you and get to tick the dial again. To aid you in completing your objectives, each Chaos God has access to their own special versions of 2 decks of cards, the Upgrade deck and the Chaos deck. The Upgrade deck is the smaller of the two, with only 5 cards, but its effects are permanent, allowing you to improve the combat effectiveness of your cultists, demons, and greater demons, or enhancing your special chaos powers. The other deck is the Chaos deck, 24 cards of deliciously themey and disturbingly dark powers that are tailored to your own Chaos God, and they are often, I'm just gonna say it, pretty mean. These powers allow you to change the ebb and the flow of the game. They can affect what enemies can be deployed or moved around different regions of the board. They can limit combat potential. They can change whether or not a fight even happens, or bring other things into the fight as well. And because they are all so powerful, only 2 cards will ever be playable on the same region in the same turn. Meaning that where you play your powers and when in the turn becomes a key tactical decision. Do you fill up a region with powers that are less optimal because you want to ensure no one else gets to play a power there, or do you only play them as and when you need them the most, even though that risks someone else playing cards where you need to go first? All of these special powers and objectives and cards do such an incredible job of immersing you in the old world of Warhammer Fantasy. They bring an almost role-playing-like quality to your turn. When you're playing as Nurgle, you really want to be as grimy and filthy and dirty as you possibly can. And the same goes for Slaanesh, but in a different way. When you're playing as Khorne, it's hard not to feel that bloodlust starting to build up in you as you're waiting for your turn. You're waiting to get to the fights so your little guys can just smash everyone else's to bits. Nurgle's cards are often about spreading corruption and making the most of their cultists. Tzeentch can move enemy forces around the board and even prevent fights from taking place at all. Slaanesh uses cards to score more points, and Khorne, well, they have cards, but they're not nearly as powerful a tool as their demons are. The cards present optimal playstyles for each god, and though you're not bound to any one approach, and everybody has plenty of different types of tricks to play, it does make the god you're playing way more important than you might think. For my blood money, I'm quite partial to Tzeentch, making plots within ploys, within strategies, within tactics that encourage you to see all the way to the end of the game, even when you're on your very first turn. And then when they collapse in on themselves, and you lose spectacularly, well, maybe that was the plan all along. Tom, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Which of the Chaos Gods is your favourite?
Well, I like Nurgle because they're gross.
Of course. Just because you're all playing evil chaos powers trying to have your way with the great game doesn't mean this is going to be easy peasy old world squeezy. No, the people you are trying to dominate under your oppressive boot heels still have a little bit of fight left in them, if you can imagine such a thing. There's another deck in the game, a set of 28 old world cards that represent the forces of good that remain in the land and the whims of the world itself. Only 7 are actually used in each game, and every reveal brings you one step closer to the end of play. Perhaps you're just guiltily getting along with a little bit of river tainting in Old Kislev, when a band of dwarf troll slayers rocks up, puts down a hero token, and starts killing your cultists. The Empire's elect accounts might ride into battle adding their own nobles to the fray, rich pickings for Slaanesh. Or they might sue for peace, resetting the battlefields of the entire board in such a way that only the especially sly or the damnably lucky can take advantage of it. Or maybe a load of orcs do what they do best and launch their own invasion of the old world, which just causes a right bloomin' bit of inconvenience. An old world card is pulled at the start of every turn, a delicate slice of inconvenient randomness baked into this rotten cake, and everybody has to have a piece. As the game progresses, you'll fight plenty of battles in the main regions of the old world, spending your power points every turn to either play cards or summon units into the different regions. Like the turn order, fights are always conducted in the same sequence. The vast wastes of Norska get fighty first, the lawless Badlands come last, and the Empire and Bretonnia are somewhere in that group in the middle. When it's time to fight, you calculate how many battle dice you have available in the region by looking at the figures you have deployed and their attack values. In many cases, weedy little cultists offer no dice at all, with your regular demons doing most of the heavy lifting. Of course, every player also has access to a single ultra hench greater demon who can add an awful lot of power to the battles as well, a valuable resource that can swing a fight on their own. There's also those upgrade cards that you get access to by taking on the threat dial. Some of those increase and enhance the fighting prowess of most of your followers. For example, Slaanesh can make it so that demonettes can only be injured on a 6. When it comes to actually rolling your battle dice, typically you're looking for 4s, 5s and 6s to hit, and the 6s explode, allowing you to roll another dice as well. Then you assign your hits to the enemy figures available. If you can assign more hits than their defense value, they'll be killed at the end of the battle. But because everything is happening simultaneously, even if you kill something, it will still get to fight back in most cases. Though, as ever, there are cards and effects that can change this slightly in certain circumstances. Even though your cultists don't do much in combat, you'll need to keep them alive to whisper sweet nothings into the ears of the local populace. That's how you corrupt regions. So the actual battles become an almost tactical minigame of deploying demons and greater demons to defend your cultists so that they stay around long enough to do their despicable work. When each turn ends, it's time to take stock of the map. Each region is checked to see who has dominated it, which is calculated by adding together the number of cultists and demons that they have present, as well as the cost of any chaos cards that they played there. The player with the highest domination value wins that territory, and if their number is higher than the territory's resistance, they get to score victory points for it, helping to get them towards 50 points, which is what it takes to win. Once that is done, it's time to check for corruption. For every single cultist from any player in a region, that region receives a corruption token. These build up over time, and if the number of tokens in a region ever hits 12 or more from any chaos power, then it is ruined. It has fallen to chaos and has been corrupted beyond recognition. It can no longer receive chaos cards in battles, or get tokens from different effects, though you can still fight battles there if you want. Any player who took part in the ruination of a region that turn gets to celebrate with some victory points. And the players who did the most ruining for the longest actually get to score bonus points as well, kind of like being a tech billionaire. All of this ruinous brilliance, the immersion, the mechanics, the downright obscene backstabbing so stabby it's basically front stabbing at this point. All of it together is just, in my opinion, it makes this game a true classic. With the right group at the table, it is like MC Escher has cooked up a delicious hot pot and you're all trying to eat it with sporks. It is for those reasons, everything that this game has done, everything it brings to the table, that it deserves, it has earned the coveted, the much admired, the official, shut up and sit down, recommends.
No, hold on. You can't actually do that.
What? Why?
Well, you're not actually part of Shut Up and Sit Down. You haven't even said anything negative about the game. Where's the balance, man?
But... Yep. Okay, alright. Okay. But you can't stop me forever, Brewster. So, is Chaos in the Old World the perfect game? No, it's not. There's only one of those, and it's Warhammer Quest. The game is pitched as being designed for 3 to 4 players, and there are some scaling mechanics to make that lower player count more effective. But the truth is, this really has to be a 4-player game to be at its best. Not only does the theme demand it, but the interaction between the 4 Chaos Gods' strengths and weaknesses makes it all work so much better when a particular god's foil is in the mix to oppose them. A 3-player game just doesn't work as well. It's also a game that almost necessitates familiarity. There are so many asymmetric elements at work, so many dials cranking, cards turning, and numbers crunching, that it takes several games to even be able to look beyond the hand you have in front of you and notice what your opponents are actually doing, let alone understand why they're doing it. For the game to really take off like a disc of Tzeentch, you want 4 players who have each played each god at least once. No small order in these modern times of chaotic calendars and ruinous diary planning. Tom mentioned balance, and I know that online there are folks who would argue that this game has literally none, including on Boardgame Geek. I think someone has statistically worked out that it's almost impossible for Nurgle to win by a threat dial victory, but they can still win through regular victory points. That obviously implies that there's a smidge more balance required in the creation of the game, but I think that with more familiarity, the strengths and the weaknesses of each of the Chaos Gods becomes more apparent, and it becomes much easier to play tactically around that. The more you play, the more balanced the game becomes. I suppose I've also heard complaints over the years about the legibility of the board. And yes, I guess I can see what folks mean. But to my roomy, ruinous eyes, it's just a warped bit of beautiful design. It is perfect in its grotesque, over-the-top absurdity. And I think the same goes for all of the weighty tokens and gorgeously rendered cards. The actual components, the feel and the look of them is really top-notch in the game. I even really like the little playing pieces for the demons and the cultists, though the attempt to give the cultists the thinnest, most fragile banners ever conceived strikes me as a clear attempt to trigger madness. There is also a 5th-player expansion for the game, the Horned Rat, that allows you to add an extra Chaos God, the god of the Skaven Ratmen, my favourite ratty boys. I haven't mentioned this until this point because I have never actually played with this expansion. I've never been able to get 5 players around the table to play it. It is on my 2026 vision board, though, so who knows? Maybe one day I'll return and talk about what this expansion brings to this wonderful game. Despite all of those caveats and considerations, I still think that Chaos in the Old World offers more fun than Nurglings get to have when they're on a sewer pipe slip and slide. It is simply an incredible bit of immersive storytelling, strategic dudes on a map gaming. The mechanical Euro design style with just absolutely perfect artwork that is so on theme and gives such an incredible sense of the world in which you're playing and the characters that you're playing. To me, it is fantastic. An incredible bit of gameplay that offers just a wonderful, wonderful table experience. Plenty of people have said to me that maybe it's the Warhammer theme or nostalgia that gives me such an elevated opinion of this game. And that sure, whilst it is a really good example of some fantastic Eric M. Lang games design, he would subsequently go on to perfect that design in other games like Rising Sun. And sure, I am a big fan of Rising Sun. I really enjoy it. I think it's fantastic. But there is something that always brings me back to Chaos in the Old World. Just the way in which the mechanics and the story and the art and the design is all put together. It's so great to me that I don't know. I mean, this is my review. I don't have to be impartial. I don't have to be balanced. I can just say that I think that this is a fantastic game. Maybe one of the best Warhammer-themed board games ever made. Maybe even one of the best board games ever made.
Okay, on second thoughts, I'm not really sure if this whole thing is a great idea. I mean, how about we bury this video on your channel, yeah?
Fair enough, Tom, fair enough. But I love it. I think it is evil and treacherous in all of the right ways. It is a brilliant game to play. I just love spending time with it. And not only is it a great game, but it also made me, Jordan Sorcery, and Tom Brewster of Shut Up and Sit Down best friends for life. Oh. Maybe next time, I guess. In all honesty, massive thanks to Tom Brewster. I am sure I do not have to tell you to go and check out Shut Up and Sit Down, an incredible YouTube channel. It is one of my absolute favorites. They do board game reviews real good. And if you enjoyed this slightly different type of video for me, then please let me know in the comments. Let me know if there are any other Warhammer board games that you would love to see me review in this style again in the future. I cannot promise that Tom Brewster will be here for every review, but I can promise that I will call him and turn up at his house many times to try and make it happen. Thank you very much to Tom. Thank you for watching. I'm Jordan, and this is Jordan Sorcery.